Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Just Keys, back with a brand new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be ranking every episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 1, Water. We're going to go through chapters 1, The Boy in the Iceberg, to chapter 20, Siege of the North Pole, part 2. And so with that said and done, guys, let's jump right into it. Okay, so this is how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna rank each episode on ranking from 1 to 10. 1, of course, being the worst, 10 being greatest episode ever. I am gonna go over my thoughts and feelings of the episodes, and I will mention what my favorite scene in that episode was. So, like I said, with that being said, let's jump right into it. And first episode, chapter 1, The Boy in the Iceberg. Now, The Boy in the Iceberg is the first episode, of course. We meet Katara, Sokka, Zuka, Aang, Iroh. We meet a bunch of characters, Appa, set in the Southern Water Tribe. At least the first two parts are set in the Southern Water Tribe. So really, The Boy in the Iceberg and the next one, they kind of go together, but I'm going to rate them separately. Um, I remember seeing this episode. I don't know if I saw it when it came out. I feel like I did. I feel like I started watching Avatar when it first came out. Um, I think I saw the first episode when it came out, and I might have missed some episodes and then started watching it when we were getting close to the finale. I started like rewatching it. I think they might have done like a marathon before the Siege of the North thing, and that's when I caught up. But anyways, this episode is really good. You know, it's the first episode. It's kind of like setting everything up. You know, the main plot points. You know, of Aang being the Avatar and all that stuff. It sets up that like something happened in the past, like him running away and stuff. We don't get the full story, of course, until later, episode 12, The Storm. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable episode. Very like Avatar is not a hard show to get into. Like, and this like a starting point. Like, if somebody asks like, when should I get into it? Like, what episode should I check out first? Check this one out. You meet most of the main characters. Of course, there's no Toph because she doesn't come in until book 2, but that's fine. We'll forgive them for that. But anyways, I think my favorite scene in this episode would have to be this one. I'm kind of tossed between like the penguin sledding scene. I think that's really fun and stuff, and just Aang, you know, kind of interacting with the villagers of the Southern Water Tribe and all that. But I think it would be my favorite scene is Aang and Katara escaping from the Fire Nation ship, and then you have Zuko watching them with his spyglass, right? And he says, "Yeah, the Avatar is really nimble for his old age." Um, it's just funny to me because he doesn't know that it's a kid yet. He doesn't realize it's a kid. And he thinks it's an old man. So I think that scene is kind of like a little fun. Anyways, let's move on to chapter 2. At the Avatar Returns. So moving on to chapter 2, The Avatar Returns. Of course, this is a continuation from chapter 1, The Boy in the Iceberg. Aang has revealed himself to the Fire Nation. Um, or at least to like Zuko and everything, not the Fire Nation as a whole yet, right? So Zuko captures him and everything. He's getting ready to bring him to his father. And another thing, really fun episode, really enjoy it. I just realized I forgot to rank the first episode. So first episode, I'm gonna give a 7, because it's fun and everything. Um, and it's a little bit silly. The thing about season 1, I feel like season 1 is a little more like they have a lot more silly stuff than any of the later seasons. Like each season has like it's a cartoon, so it all has like silly stuff. But I feel like season 1 has a lot more of it. And then like 2, it kind of gets a little serious, especially towards like when Appa goes missing, and then 3 gets really serious with the whole invasion thing going on. Um, and of course, the series finale, and all that is crazy. They still have like their fun episodes and everything, but yeah. So, chapter 1, I'm gonna go to 7. This one, I'm gonna give it an 8. Um, because this is where we really start to kind of like start to see some like bending action. We got to see like a little bit of it in the first episode, and we get to see a little more of it in this episode where like Aang taking on like Zuko in his room and stuff and everything, and how airbending style and all that, and Zuko and all that, and very fun episode. Like I said, I'm gonna give it an 8. And I'm gonna my favorite scene in this episode is probably when Zuko, he's got Aang on the boat and he's looking at the staff. He's like, "This will make a great gift for my father. Put it in my room." And he gives the guard his room. No, he gives Iroh. I'm sorry, he gives Iroh the staff, and Iroh just takes it, just turns to the guard, is like, "Hey, you, put that in his room." It's just really funny. Loved Iroh in the first season. Had some really fun moments with him. But yeah, gonna give this one 8 out of 10. Chapter 3, the Southern Air Temple. This, if you think about it, this is really where, the story starts. The first two episodes, that's kind of like setting up everything, and now finally, Aang and Guitar and Sokka, they're on the way, they're heading to the North Pole, and they want to make a stop at Aang's home temple. We can call it his home temple, that's what I'm gonna call it. And Aang, he still is like, they're trying to explain to him that all the airbenders were murdered and massacred and all that. And he's like, guys, our temples are are like up in high mountains. There's no way the Fire Nation had any way of getting there. And they get there and he's showing them all around. And of course, like there's nobody there because they have been um unfortunately they have been murdered, sadly, which it's gonna be crazy seeing that in the live action series that's coming out on Netflix. I'm th- those scenes are probably gonna be like epic. We've seen like Sozin in some scenes right there. We've seen Monkey also in some fight scenes, and like trails and stuff. They're going like all in on this live action series, and I am looking forward to it. I am gonna go in with a positive outlook and gonna have fun with it. But yeah, so Aang, that's where Aang finds out like the truth. He finds Makiyanto's body, and the anguish and stuff is just too much for him. And this is the first time we see. Well, no, I'm sorry. This isn't the first time. This is the second time, third time. I'm sorry. This is really like where we kind of see like that the Avatar state. It's kind of like based on like emotion and like self defense and stuff and everything, and all that emotion and everything. It just sends him into the Avatar state. You know. Um, and we really see this where like Guitar and Sokka come to him, let him know that he's not alone, and it's a great episode of those moments. And we also get introduced to Commander Zhao in this episode. He's not admiral yet, right? So here he's just a commander, and because Zuko and Iroh, they're getting their ship fixed, and everything, and Zhao is there, and he finds out that Zuko like basically let the Avatar escape, according to him. And so they have an Agni Kai, and this is where we get like a hint that something happened with Zuko, and the last time he dueled, like I was like, "Do you remember what happened the last time you dueled Master?" And we get that like, of course they move over to his scar side, and he's like, "I will never forget." So that's the first hint. And also, Jason Isaacs as Admiral Zhao, I mean Commander Zhao at this point, right, was just great. I think he was just. I love that they got him. I love that they warned him. There's like a funny story. I think in one of the commentaries on the DVDs, like when they talk about Zhao, Michael O'Brien, one of them, says like when they were asked like who do you want to play Admiral Zhao, um, they were like, well, we kind of see him like as a Jason Isaacs type character, and they didn't expect to get him, I believe, but they actually got him for a show, and I think that's awesome. He did really great. I wish we had more of him, just because he's a great like he's pretty much like the villain of the season, like even though it seems like Zuko's kind of the villain of the season, Zuko's really not the villain, to be honest. It's Zhao. Zuko's just going through a tough time in the first season. But yeah, really fun episode. Ranking wise, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give this one a 10 because I really love it. The introduction of Zhao is so great, and like Aang learning about what happened and everything, and coming to terms with that is also another big part of the episode. With them actually showing like Monkey Yasuo's body and all those dead Fire Nation soldiers around his corpse is just crazy insane. Which how do you think Monkey Yasuo um killed all those fire soldiers, right? Um, the theory I've seen and I'm kind of like going with is that he like Zahir did to the Earth Queen. He sucked all the air out of them, but he did it on like a massive scale. Um, and it might have killed him too because I think they were like weren't they in a sealed room together? I don't remember. But anyways, very fun episode. 10 out of 10. Let's move on to chapter 4, The Warriors of Kyoshi. Alright, so our next episode I'm ranking is chapter 4, The Warriors of Kyoshi. This is the episode that introduces Suki. Sokka finally gets put in his place for his blatant sexism, and then that story gets wrapped up, and nothing what that happens after this episode. Anyways, um, very fun episode. Um, it's finally like this is kind of like where like people start to realize that the Avatar is actually back. We kind of see that start like in the last episode with the glowing statues like all over the world and stuff. People realizing the Avatar is back, but this is when he actually like reveals himself like in a village and everything. In the Kyoshi village, people are so fun. Gotta love foaming mouth guy. Um, Only makes two appearances in the whole show, but iconic, background character. That's the one thing about Avatar: Last Airbender is like the background characters are so funny. Like I think characters like the foaming mouth guy and the cabbage merchant, those have more fans than like Aang, Katara, Sokka, Zuko. Everybody just loves them. Um, but yeah, I'll rank this one 7 out of 10. It's very fun. Aang does get a little annoying with his he kind of gets his ego gets built up a little. He kind of like rubs his ego a little too much in this one. And but it's a fun episode. I enjoy it very much. Favorite scene? Obviously, probably the beginning when he's riding on the giant elephant koi, and then like when he's getting attacked by the Unagi, and he's running the water, and you just see like and just like the way his facial features during that scene are just so hilarious. So yeah, but definitely the beginning scene for this episode. Anyway, let's move on to chapter 5. Alright, chapter 5, The King of Omashu. Another. Did I say Omashu? I think I said Omasha. The King of Omashu. Very fun episode. I think this is probably one of my top favorite episodes for this season. King Boomy, such a great character, funny, hysterical. I love characters that are kind of like they're kind of crazy, they're eccentric and stuff. And King Boomy is just that. Omashu, the city itself has a very like cool design with the mail chutes and everything, right? And them just going right on it and everything. And also, this is like the first episode where we actually kind of get to first see like earth bending. This is where it's actually shown prominently. Of course, the whole episode um is Aang basically being tested by Boomy and everything. Boomy is Aang's friend from 100 years ago. Yeah, the Earthbenders they have a long lifespan. It seems like, which seems to stem from their connection with the Earth. And yeah, very fun episode. I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10. Um, Favorite scene? Probably, probably Aang having to go, like get Booby's pet, Flopsy, and he's chasing around that little small um bunny rabbit thing. I'm not sure what the name for it is. But yeah, he's chasing around a little small bunny rabbit thing, and the big thing is chasing him around, and he just yells the small thing like Flopsy, Flopsy, come here, and then he realizes that the big monstrous bunny rabbit thing that's chasing him is Flopsy. So yeah, that was very fun, very fun episode. Yeah, 10 out of 10 for this one. Okay, so chapter 6, Imprisoned. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too big of a fan of this one. It introduces Haru, and the whole plot revolves around like he's got to hide his earthbending. This town that's being run by Fire Nation. They're taking away earthbenders and putting them on a boat. You know, on a boat where they can earthbend, and that's what they gotta work there and everything. And Haru gets revealed as earthbender, gets taken away, and Katara wants to help him and like um empower the earthbenders to like revolt and take back their homes and everything. Um, Best thing about the episode is definitely George Takei as the warden of the prison ship. Um, just his tone and everything is just like awesome, and I'm looking forward to hearing him as he's gonna be playing Ko, the face stealer, in the live action version, and I think that's gonna be like really creepy if he, you know, it's definitely gonna be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And speaking of live action version and relating to this episode, so it seems like a lot of people are speculating that like maybe they're not gonna adapt this episode into the live action version. At least that was a thought, but maybe we're gonna get aspects of it because one of the last trailers we got, TV spots, teasers, whatever, had a scene where it seemed like that somebody was bending like an earthbending was bending some coal and like attacking like a Fire Nation soldier. Um, so we might get aspects of it, but not like all of it because there wasn't any casting announcement for Haru. But who knows? Maybe we didn't hear about every single cast announcement. Maybe they're saving some things for like a surprise. We don't know. But yeah, it's a fun episode, but it's not one of my personal favorites, and it's fun, but it's not. I'm gonna give it a four. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. You know, favorite scene. Uh, I'm trying to think. 'Cause I don't think it was this. I don't think it was this episode. Was it this episode? Was it this episode that Sokka had the dream where Momo was mean to him? Um, if this was not this episode, I'll say my favorite scene was definitely them setting up the fake earthbending scene, and then and the soldier's like, "Oh my god, that lemur's earthbending," and they're like, Sokka's like, "No, it's the girl." But yeah, fun episode, but not one of my favorites. So let's move on to chapter 7. All right, so next is chapter 7, uh, the Winter Solstice Part 1, the Spirit World. This episode, Aang, he kind of starts to see like the devastation of Fire Nation. What this war has caused with the destruction of nature and all that, and so he's asked for help, by these villagers who that some of the villagers are being taken by the spirit named Heibai, who's like the protector of this forest. So Aang goes to investigate, and this is really like the introduction of like the spiritual aspect of Avatar, which I'll be honest, like looking back, like I just did a rewatch with my dad of Avatar: Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, and I have to say, like, there is a spiritual aspect, in the first series, Avatar: Last Airbender, um, but spirits weren't really like a big part of it. Like in a couple episodes they were, but I feel like we got more spirit stuff in Korra. But this is another fun episode. Obviously, this is part of a two-parter. We finally get the urgency that something is going on, and we learn that Avatar Roku, Aang's last past life, wants to speak to him about something. He has to find a way to speak to him, and so that continues on into the next episode. Um, Favorite scene in this episode? I would have to say probably the stuff with Iroh. Like no specific scene, but yeah, the stuff with Iroh was very fun. Him escaping um from the Earth Kingdom soldiers and all that, like him being captured, and they're taking Bossing Say. We kind of learn about his siege and everything, and how like he couldn't get through and everything, and something happened. So we get a little bit of Iroh's backstory here, and I really like that. So that was fun. This episode, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, right? So anyways, let's move on to the second part now. Alright, so chapter 8, which is Solstice Part 2, after Roku, we finally get to meet Roku in this episode, and we finally find out the major plot of the series, like the big what is the big showdown that's gonna happen at the end. There is a comet coming. The comet basically supercharges firebenders and everything, and Sozin used it to start the war, and that now the current Fire Lord Ozai, he's going to use it to end the war. This episode has a lot of major stuff in it. We got the Team Avatar getting through the blockade and all that. This is where they kind of like first meet Zhao and everything. And everything in this episode is like so fun. We get to meet the fire sages, who are supposed to be like they're supposed to like be. I can't. I'm drawing a blank here. Basically, they take care of like Avatar Roku's temple and stuff, and they're supposed to be on the side of the Avatar, but most of them have lost their way except for one, who, if I remember correctly, his name was, I want to say Shay. I know I have that wrong. I think I might be thinking of a different character. But yeah, one of them decides to help the Avatar, and he helps Aang, get into the room where he can speak to Roku and everything. Um, Roku is one of my favorite like characters in the whole show. I think he's just great, like his whole backstory and stuff, and like it's just really well done, and I love it. This one is a 10 out of 10 for me. My favorite scene in this episode, probably them like getting attacked by the blockade and everything, and have to deal with that. That's a very fun sequence, at the beginning. So yeah, definitely 10 out of 10 for this one. And let's move on to chapter 9. Alright, so chapter 9, the Waterbending Scroll. This is the episode where Aang kind of starts to learn waterbending, and it becomes very apparent that because he's the Avatar, he kind of has more of a natural inclination to it, and he's kind of doing a little better than Katara, which makes her a little jealous. And during the course of the episode, they meet some pirates. She steals a waterbending scroll from them. Um, and of course, the pirates and Zuko, they team up because Zuko, of course, he wants to capture Aang, and the pirates know where he is and everything. They don't know he's the Avatar, of course, and it causes them to get into a whole like tussle, because now once the pirates find out, which that is my favorite scene in the episode, in which Sokka convinces the pirates, not to turn Aang into Zuko, because he's the Avatar, and they could just get like a lot. They could get a lot of money just for turning him in themselves, and of course the pirates was like, "Yeah, that seems fair." And they're like, "We don't want the scroll. We're just gonna take the Avatar." Um, but yeah, very fun episode. Like I said, I'm probably gonna say that for a lot of episodes. Very fun, because the show is just so great and so amazing and so perfect, except for the episodes that aren't, which we're getting close to one that isn't. Um, But yeah, I'd give this one. It's not one of my favorite episodes. I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for this one. Let's move on to chapter 10. Alright, so chapter 10, Jet introduces the character Jet. And very cool character. He leads the Freedom Fighters, which is a mix of like rebellious teenagers that have all lost their homes due to the Fire Nation. And Jet, he believes he's doing good, but he's targeting innocent civilians. And he has this plan to like flood a village full of like innocent people and stuff. And Kotora just becomes smitten with him, and Aang thinks he's just so cool. And Sokka's just kind of like, no, my instincts are telling me something. You gotta trust Sokka's instincts. Sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. Um, Very fun episode. I love Jet's weapon. I don't know what exactly they're called. Um, but honestly, I can't wait to see his character in the live action version and how they adapt his storyline and everything. I think it's gonna be really fun. This episode's a 10 out of 10 for me. Favorite scene? Hmm. This is a tough one. Oh yeah, I know. When they get introduced to the freedom fighters, and Aang walks up, he walks up to who he thinks is Pipsqueak, and it's the Duke, and Pipsqueak stands together. If you ever watched the show, you know Pipsqueak is like the big, like tall, like hulking dude. Big, tall. He's like he's big, he's huge, right? And then like there's this kid named Duke who's like really small. Well, Aang walks up to the Duke who's standing next to Pipsqueak, right? And like he assumes um he assumes the Duke is Pipsqueak, I guess. And he just walks up and he's like, Pipsqueak, that's a funny name. And then Pipsqueak leans over and is like, you think my name's funny? And he's just like, yeah, it's hilarious. And then Pipsqueak just starts laughing, like agreeing with them. So it's little things like that I love, okay? So they had 10 out of 10 for this one. Chapter 11, The Great Divide.
Look, it's the Great Divide, the biggest canyon in the Earth Kingdom.
Let's keep flying.
Alright, so moving on to chapter 12, The Storm. This is an awesome episode. I love this episode. A lot of fans love it too because it gives us our first look at like what happened in both Aang and Zuko's past. We find out how Aang became trapped in the iceberg and everything. You just found out he was the Avatar. They told him before he was 16 because of all the stuff going on with the Fire Nation and everything. So they were trying to get him ready early. And like his mentor, Monk Yatso, basically like wanted to keep treating him, just as a kid. Didn't want to change anything, which is fair. The other Air Nomad masters, they were kind of like, he needs to, he needs to become more serious with his avatar training. And Monkiato's like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna force all this stuff on him. We're gonna treat him like a kid and just treat him normally. And so they were gonna send Aang away. And when Aang found out, he got on Alpha and he ran away, got caught up in a storm, and leads us into the events of the series we're going through right now. But my favorite aspect of this episode was just seeing Zuko's backstory and how he got a scar and everything. And this was like one of our first times we heard like Ozai's voice and everything and got a glimpse into Fire Lord Ozai's character. Mark Hamill, phenomenal job and everything. So yeah, this episode is amazing. Love it. 10 out of 10. Favorite scene. The favorite scene would be pretty much Zuko's backstory stuff. And Iroh telling that story to like the other soldiers and everything. So yeah, really cool episode, really fun episode, great, and also like leads into the next episode as well. So chapter 13, The Blue Spirit, another great episode. Katara and Sokka have become sick after being caught up in that storm and everything. So this is one of the episodes where we see Aang go off by himself and he goes to find a cure for them. Finds out they have to suck on frogs, and so he goes searching out for these frogs, frozen frogs at that, and he ends up getting caught by Commander Zhao, who in this episode gets his promotion and becomes Admiral Zhao. And so a strange, mysterious figure known as the Blue Spirit comes to rescue Aang. Of course, this turns out to be Zuko. Of course, Zuko's only doing it so like he can capture him. Because now it's become Zhao's like primary mission to capture the Avatar for the Fire Lord, and Zuko's not gonna let him take that chance away from him to restore his honor and everything. So very fun episode. Uh, a lot of good like action sequence in this. Love the escape from the prison. I can't wait to see that in a live action series. I am looking very forward to that. It looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. We got a little glimpse of it in the trailer, but I have to get this episode, and this one's gonna be another 10 out of 10 for me. Favorite part in this episode, favorite scene, I would have to say definitely the escape. Definitely the escape scene. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Let's move on to chapter 14. So chapter 14 is the Fortuneteller, and this one finds Sokka, Katara, and Aang in this small town where all these people, they believe in this woman, Aunt Wu, right? She's a fortune teller. She tells their fortune, and they always take her advice no matter what. And it seems to be working for them at this point and everything. And Katara becomes obsessed because she kind of gives like Aunt Wu gives like romantic fortunes and stuff, and Aang also, and they've kind of already set up like how Aang has a crush on Katara and everything since like the first episode, and but this episode really starts to plant the seed in Katara that of her interest in Aang. So that's really cool. This episode's fun. It's not one of my favorite episodes. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Um, but I feel like this episode it's for the shippers. Let's be honest. It's for the shippers. Um, favorite scene, possibly all the moments where Saga's trying to convince the villagers the villagers that they shouldn't rely on Aunt Rue's predictions. Even though it's worked out for them and so far, and then they have the whole thing with the volcano thing at the end. But just this whole like his whole demeanor with the villagers. Uh, I think my favorite part with that whole Wasaka's interactions is possibly like um one of them like he asked one of the villagers um can Atwood's predictions tell you? I don't remember the exact line of what he said, but then like one of the villagers is like, "Well, can your science tell us how it rains?" And Sokka's like, "Yes, yes, it can." So great episode, 7 out of 10. And let's move on to chapter 15. Alright, so chapter 15, Bato, the War Tribe. This episode, we get to introduce to Katara and Sokka's. So I could call him their surrogate uncle. I'm gonna call him Bato. He's their father's best friend. They grew up knowing him and everything. They've grown up knowing him and everything, and they meet him in like this what do you call it? Uh, it's kind of like almost like a nunnery, pretty much. Um, they got these um, Abbott sisters who make this. They make this perfume and everything, and he's waiting for a letter from their father, so he can get back with him. They've been separated. He was injured. He was staying there to be healed and everything. Um, so he lets Katana Saka know that if they want to join him, to meet back up with his father, they can. And this kind of causes some tension with Aang because he thinks Sokka and Katara are just gonna leave him. Obviously, they're not planning on it, because they're focused on the mission of getting to the Northern War Tribe and everything. Of course, he walks out before he can hear this part of the conversation, and he ends up receiving the letter and like crumpling it up and like keeping it on himself. So he gets conflicted with like keeping this lie and everything, and it causes a lot of tension. And they do separate towards the end of the episode, but it turns out Zuko has a tracker after them. June and her Shirshu, which is another thing I'm looking forward to in the live action series. Can't wait to see that. Uh, it's a Shirshu. It can track smells and stuff, so it's looking for Katara. Um, to find Aang and everything. You're using Katara's necklace, as a track and smell. So they finally find Katara, and then they find Aang and everything. Aang comes to rescue everybody. Everything, huge fight scene. At the end, not huge, but like pretty cool fight scene at the end, which should be cool to see in live action. Favorite scene in this episode? I would have to say when June gets struck by her Shishu, and Iroh captures her, and he like falls on the ground, and like Zuko, who's also been struck, they're both laying on the ground with June just on top of Iroh, and Zuko's like, "Uncle, I didn't see you get hit by the Shishu's tongue," and I was just like, "Shh, let me have my moment, Zuko." This is great. Iroh had some great moments in the series. Um, yeah, I would say this one 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. A lot of these like last couple episodes are like not my top favorites because they're good, but it's like we're almost at the point where at the Northern War Tribe, and that's where I want to get to. But they're fun. They're fun. So let's move on to chapter 16. All right, chapter 16, the deserter. It's the episode where Aang kind of starts to try to learn firebending. He finds this Fire Nation soldier who has defected, goes to him, see if he'll teach him firebending. Jong is like, no, you still need to learn water. You still need to learn earth. You're stubborn. You're eager. And then it's like, I need to do this. I need to do this. And Aang is not taking it all that serious because Jong is trying to teach him what he considers to be the right way to firebend and everything. And we get a little bit of backstory on Animal Zhao. Jong used to be his teacher and everything, but Zhao just wants to use fire to like destroy and everything. His temper's out of control, and Aang accidentally burns Katara, and this is where we learned about her healing abilities. That she has some that she didn't even know she had, and Aang sort of kind of gives up on firebending after this. Yeah, he doesn't want to do it because he's hurt Katara, and it then plays into not so much season two, but it comes back to play a little bit in season three when he's finally starting to learn firebending. So yeah, fun episode. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. I like it. I like Jon Jon's character. I wish we could have seen more of him. It does. There's some speculation that we're not gonna see him in the live action series, which I'm kind of, I'm not too disappointed, but we don't know yet. There's a lot of stuff I think they're holding on to that they haven't announced. Which I'm hoping that's the case. Somebody talked about there was a trailer a while back, a TV spot or something that came out a couple days ago, where somebody in the trailer kind of looks like they could be uh Che, uh Jong's like second in command, basically. But that's nothing confirmed here or there. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Favorite scene, possibly Aang getting the one uppance on Animal Zhao, and causing him to burn all his own ships and everything. So yeah, that was great. So nice. Let's move on. Chapter 17. Okay, chapter 17, the Northern Air Temple. I lost my train of thought there for a second. This is a fun episode. I really love it. Um, this one, I'm giving this one. I'm gonna say my ranking right now, 10 out of 10, because this episode is fun. It sets up a lot of things that come into play later on in the series. So this episode, Aang, he hears about these flying people at this temple, the Northern Air Temple, and he's like, "Oh, those gotta be airbenders." And it turns out it's refugees. This mechanist has made this place a home for not only his son but a bunch of people, and they've learned to use gliders and stuff and to fly, not fly but glide and stuff and everything. And Aang, like, at first he's kind of like upset because they're changing everything. They're destroying stuff that's part of his culture, his home, and everything. Um, and he kind of starts to accept it. He's like, okay, they found a home here. They made this place their home. You know, but they need to know when to stop because nature knows when to stop and all that. Um, come to find out, the mechanics is actually being forced to make weapons for the Fire Nation, and we actually get to see some of them. So one of the weapons he makes is the drill, which is going to come into play in season 2 when they try to get into boxing, stay with it. And then the war balloons. This is like the precursor to the war balloons. He makes like uh the hot air balloons and stuff and everything. So for an episode, a lot of stuff. The battle at the end is very fun. Uh, it seems like we're not gonna actually get the Northern Air Temple in the new live action series, but they're gonna be bringing aspects of it into Omashu because they're seeing Teo in scenes in Omashu with him and Aang flying around. You can see the Omashu shoots and everything. So yeah, interesting to see that how that's gonna play out. If Omashu is gonna get attacked, I think that'd be cool if we actually get to see Omashu being attacked in the new series, and that kind of like if they do get like a season 2 and they return, they see like how much the Fire Nation has changed since attacking it. If that's what's gonna happen, I don't know. That's speculation on my part, but who knows. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me on this one. Favorite part, definitely the battle at the end. The battle at the end with the Fire Nation tanks and stuff, shooting their chains and going up the mountain and stuff. I think that's really cool. Um, yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Let's move on to chapter 18. Well, we have finally made it. We finally made it to the Northern Water Tribe, and we see just a vast difference compared to what we saw in the Southern Water Tribe. Northern Water Tribe has these huge palaces and everything, and it's just like an amazing place. And just seeing the more water bending and stuff, and how they utilize it to get through the city and stuff is just awesome. Um, and Katara and Aang, they're ready to learn some waterbending from the Waterbending Master. But Baku, he's like, sorry, I don't teach women. Not part of my culture. Go get in the kitchen, little girly. Go into the healing hut. And Katara just like, oh, hell no. I did not just travel thousands of miles for some old man to tell me that I cannot be a waterbending master. Hell no. And so we get this awesome fight scene between the two. We find out Paku was Katara and Sokka's grandmother's like fiance a long time ago. In fact, the necklace that Katara wears was the patrol necklace that he gave her and everything. Um, and he kind of learns the error of his ways, kind of comes to a realization that he was wrong. And we also have a little setup with Zuko and stuff heading to the Northern War Tribe. Zhao has taken all his soldiers, so now it's only Zuko and Iroh on the ship. And Zhao has also hired pirates to kill Zuko, but luckily he escapes. And now he has Iroh on Zhao's ship as a spy, and he's on the ship as a spy. And Zhao is getting a fleet ready to go over to the Northern War Tribe and take him out. And he has a plan to take out the moon. Which I don't think he mentioned in this episode. I think that was the next episode he mentioned it. So, yeah. But these last, like this and the next two episodes, they kind of play together. So yeah. So this is kind of like the beginning. I would say this episode I really count as the beginning of the whole Siege in the North storyline that we're gonna see in the next two episodes. So that said, this one I'd give a 9 out of 10. Favorite scene, Katara and Paku's fight. Definitely favorite scene in this one. So let's move on to chapter 19 and chapter 20, the Siege of the North. Okay, so last two episodes, chapter 19 and chapter 20, I'm grouping together because they're parts 1 and part 2. The Siege of the North Pole. Fantastic episodes. Really great. I love that, like, it starts out like very simple. We see Aang and Katara training and stuff, and they're still having some fun in the Northern War Tribe, and then the black snow starts coming, the black suited snow and everything. Um, and Sokka realizes what it means because he's experienced it before, and so they're all getting ready to go to battle and everything. And Aang, he's trying to take out all these ships and everything, and you realize he can't do enough, so he tries to seek the spirit's help, and he finds out that the ocean moon spirit, they're like in the human world now, and they're these fish that need to be protected, and Zhao knows who they are as well. That's where we also meet Ko, the face stealer, very scary character who says we'll meet him again, and that hasn't happened yet. So maybe the Earth Avatar series we'll meet him again. So I don't know. But yeah, Zhao kills the moon spirit, sending to basically cancel out the moon, and like Sokka loses the love of his life at this point, Yue, who had part of the moon spirit in her. And a lot goes on. A lot goes on. There's some great moments. Um, Katara and Zuko have a really awesome fight in this episode. In fact, probably like I would have to say that's probably my second favorite scene in these episodes is their fight. And favorite line in this episode was Zuko's "You rise with the moon, I rise with the sun." That was a great moment. Top favorite scene, Koizilla. Koizilla, top favorite scene. The music in that scene is awesome. It's just so great. That's really when you actually get to see the actual ultimate power of the Avatar state and everything. That is awesome. Awesome scene. Awesome end to like a first season. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Um, I know I kind of ramble and stuff. I'm sorry about that. Uh, but if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite episode was of season 1. I'll do season 2 and season 3 at some point, and then I'll do Legend Core rankings. And yeah, so have fun with this. We only got like 5 more days to the live action series. I think I'm feeling very positive about it. I think it's gonna be. I definitely think it's gonna be better than the live action movie. I don't think it's gonna be better than the cartoon. The cartoon will always have a special place in people's heart. And yeah. So guys, that's it for the video. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.